have you ever felt like you're beating your head against the wall trying to trade? I know that used to be the story with me. I put, matter of fact, I put plenty of holes actually through the walls when I was day making trades that failed. Does that sound familiar? Does it sound like, I mean, you probably have never punched a wall, Edu and Dr. Stock, in all your life, but uh, but I have, with regards to my trading. But in today's session, we're going to basically go and show you what it really feels like behind the day trading highlight reels, and why stepping away from the grind gave us not just better trades, but also gave us our life back. And we're going to be raw. We're going to be honest with you about what we've seen. I did not realize until I really got to digging into it, because I know I used to be a day trader, but then switched over to being a swing trader after about 5+ years and blowing up 2 accounts. Uh, and so the with that, what we did was, I keep getting, Edu keeps going in and out. Anyway, what we did basically, that grind just ripped us apart, and just so we're going to cover basically some of the myths, the dopamine taps, and all this type of stuff. As we wait for Edu to come back, and so let me ask you guys. There he is.
Yeah, we're good to go. Instagram just acting a little strange, but I think we should be good.
Okay, great. And so I was just sharing with everybody that we're going to basically just cover some of the raw things about what we both discovered as in day traders. And Doc, what I was really shocked at, I know that I dropped out of day trading after about 5 years and blowing up 2 accounts. I did not realize, and we're going to share this with people a little bit later, I didn't realize how low probability success is in day trading. Now, I know you wanted to be talking about that, but why don't you take some time and just tell us about your experience with day trading and your experience of where you are right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, like most people, I was introduced to the markets and I saw momentum day trading, right? So, there was news, there was hype, there was a catalyst causing a massive percentage move up. So, Tesla post earnings, a random biotech stock after a massive FDA update, so on and so forth, right? So I was obsessed with this idea that, like, if I buy the hype, then it's going to equal large percentages. And that was the key thing for me. I was thinking, okay, more volatility, more hype, more momentum equals more ROI for me. But the reality is that if we cannot consistently handle that volatility, which is very difficult and very few people can well,
Right.
it becomes quite challenging. So I tried also for over a year. I was obsessed, scalping, day trading, scalping, day trading, scalping, day trading. And I just couldn't catch a breakthrough on that. And so basically, long story short, I almost gave up. But then I said, okay, well, a volume bar is a volume bar. A candlestick is a candlestick. A Fibonacci retracement is Fibonacci retracement. So can I just do the same system on a bigger zoomed out chart? And
Yeah,
sure enough,
yeah.
I found out that, yeah, absolutely. Like the setups were the same. The only difference is, am I executing in 10 minutes or am I executing in 10 hours or 10 days or 10 months? Right.
Right on.
That was the sort of aha moment for me.
And so you basically, if I understand what you're saying, then you
Oh,
took.
by the way, Dennis, your mic's off again.
Thank you. Because it's showing that it's not off. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I'm not hearing. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Yes.
Oh, I'm hearing you. I'm not hearing you. It says on the mic there that it's off for some reason under your little icon. It says mic mute. There it says on there. Very strange. No, Mike, you can hear me? Very interesting. Maybe let me pop out again and come back in. I don't know if that will make a difference to you, but if you're hearing me, I can see you great. Let me just try it. It's worth the wait. Let me pop back out and then come back in. Maybe that'll make a
Peter,
difference.
can you hear me now?
Dennis, I'm
Can
going
you
to
hear me
come
now?
back in.
Okay. Geez, this is just so. Aspen, if you're still online, or can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, can you
Yeah.
hear me now?
Yeah. Now we're good. I thought that would fix it.
And so, okay, yeah, my wife is listening from the other room, and she said that she could hear fine. So
Hmm.
so you got into your story basically. So
Dennis,
you
can you ask audience if they're hearing you? Because Mike just went out again.
yeah, guys, can you hear me? Just put
You're
a Y
hearing me,
and
right? Are you hearing me
yes,
good? Yeah,
yes.
I'm hearing
Can
nothing,
you hear me now?
unfortunately. Let me see.
Yeah, my mic looks okay on my
Very
side.
strange.
Hello. Okay. Yeah, Tommy Ross says he's hearing both of us.
Okay. So we should be good now. Hopefully it
Yeah.
remains. We'll send a prayer to God.
I tell you, sometimes, when you start to do some of these things, and I'm sure everybody has had this experience. Uh, this is one of the first times that I've tried to broadcast both. I usually do just StreamYard and X and YouTube and all that kind of stuff. But I wanted to wrap in. I also wanted to wrap in Instagram this time. And I'll be darned, just Instagram. Sometimes it just doesn't play well with others. But let's dig in some more. So you basically said something very interesting. So you traded for how long? Doing day trading, momentum day trading, until you finally said, this isn't working out for me. But I find it interesting that you transferred over to swing trading some of the things you learned while you was day trading. What are some of the two or three high points
Yeah,
of what you brought over?
so it was over a year of trying, and I had never been the type of person that gave up on anything. So
Okay.
that took me to my max. Like I was crying, I had nightmares, felt self-defeated, my self-worth was at all-time lows. Horrific time. Very, very low point in my life, because that was actually my first experience with not being able to have a breakthrough with something, right? In high school, I got all the girls. In sports, I got on all the best teams. So when I came to day trading and I couldn't defeat it after a year, I was like, this is unbelievable. So yeah, I basically just said, okay, let me move 5 minute, 15 minute. That's what I was doing for over a year, not
Right.
working. Let me transfer it over to the daily charts. Same concepts. Nothing changed. I didn't change the way I looked at volume. I didn't change the way I looked at candles. I didn't change my entry model. Absolutely not even my targets or my stop loss. Nothing changes. Just daily candles instead of 5 minute, right? Same sort of entries, same
Sure.
sort of setups. And yeah, it transferred over really well. And after that, I was like, oh, the account's growing. I'm gaining some good consistency here. It's making good sense. And then after that, fast forward a little bit, then I ended up going back to day trading to just pair them together. So now, fast forward 7+ years, I can swing trade, I can day trade, I can
Right.
scalp trade. But I want to make it very clear that it was an obsession with scalp and day trading in the beginning. And then it was like, okay, swing trade, got good at that, then transferred it back to day trading, then transferred it forward to scalping.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that in the thousands of people that I've coached and mentored, because I know you do coaching and mentoring also, is that basically helping members get to the place where guiding them, to the place where they can actually be consistent winners, consistently profitable and that type of stuff. It's part of the deal of learning how to win. And one of the things that I noticed about my initial go at day trading is that while I may have had the technical knowledge, I didn't have the reps to be able to say I'm a consistent winner. I know how to win. And so part of that came down to shifting out of the day trading world, which was driving me nuts because I would be, up every morning, and I live in Hawaii, right? And I know when you're traveling around, when you're outside outside of the 48 contiguous, states, is that it's a tough. I mean, because if you're I know when I trade in the Korea where my son is, or traded in Germany on when traveling around, and it's hard adjusting your time, my time clock, right? So I don't know if anybody else has had that problem, but if you have, you might want to drop a note back there. But for whatever reason, I believe one of the first myths about day trading, Doc, and that was the only way to make money in the market is to day trade.
Yeah. Massive illusion.
Well, why do you say massive illusion?
Well, because so an illusion is something we perceive to be real, right? Almost like a dream or even a fear, right? Like we perceive a fear to be real. We perceive an idea to be real, but it's an illusion of reality. It's elusive because day trading is only, better than swing trading, whatever that means, if it works for that person long term. Right. And I think what I see very often is that most people can have a breakthrough for 2 weeks, maybe a month, maybe even 90 days. But I get circulating students that used to be with me and then they come back and then they rejoin or what have you. But I've heard it 100 times over. Oh, I'm so close. I had a great month and then I blew the account. I had a great 2 months and then I blew the account. I had a great week. And so I think there's this obsession, really an obsession that quick money is better money. When I was talking with a student about this, I said, okay, what's 5 times 5? That's 25. Okay, good. Right. Now let's separate that again. Let's do 25 divided by 5. That's 5. So if you break that down, let's say a swing trader is making $2,500 a week versus a day trader makes $500 a day. Same thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Same exact mathematical thing. Or we could break that down to months. 15K month divided by, let's say they trade 18 days. So same idea, right? So it doesn't have to be bought and sold or profitable today. It could be buy Monday, sell Friday, or buy Tuesday, sell next Thursday. And the dollar amount may be the same exact amount. So I think that's like a really key thing, right?
Right on. Yeah, I think part of it is also is that most people come into trading with the paycheck mentality. In other words, I have to get X amount per week or X amount per, kind of X amount per week. And what I find with trading overall, trading is more like a commission job. In other words, 1 week, one month, it may be $15,000 or $20,000. The next month, it may be, $5,000. And so kind of wrapping your mindset around that. But one of the things that really drove me nuts, and I think I'm going to go on a campaign, Doc, that's going to, about day trading is that, people think that day trading is the fastest way to profits. And as you just pointed out, is it? And in reality, no, because studies have shown that 80 to 97% of day traders lose money, lose money. And that the failure rate or the success rate of those who consistently make money, because some do, some can't, some can do make the money in doing day trade, but the top 1% of day traders basically barely break even. Now there are the outliers, and the outliers, of course, is what makes it seem like it's sexy and it's cool. You get you get the Lamborghini, you get the pretty girl, you get the this, you get the that, and living a life of leisure out wherever. But it's kind of like I don't know, it's kind of like the duck, on the pond. It looks, peaceful, calm, and all kind of stuff. But underneath the water, it's just paddling its legs off to stay afloat, right? But so the top performance is barely. So that's one of the areas, and you talked about that. So um, so that aspect of making money. The next myth that because we kind of talked when we talked late the other day, we talked about this myth number 2, which is more trades equals more money. And I know you're biting the bit to jump into that. So what's up with that? More trades equals more money.
I like to make an analogy here to just everything in life and experience, right? So if you ask most people, would you rather go to same, let's make it the same price, the same time. The only difference is, do you want to go to the Starbucks? I'll connect you here, or the Starbucks Reserve, right? Same location, same cost, but better value. Which one are we going to go with? I think most people will go for the Starbucks Reserve, the perceived higher value. Let's do it again with cars. Volkswagen Jetta or a really nice Mercedes Benz. Same cost, same efficiency, everything. Nothing changes. The only thing is you pay the same for more value, right? And if we keep going with this, the key point that I'm trying to make here is that perceived value or higher value is usually going to be the pursuit, especially if you can get it at the same cost, right? So if we bring that over to trading,
Sure.
if we can, let's go back to, all right, we have a day trader that makes this much per day, $100, $100, $100, $100, right? We multiply that times 20. What do we got there? We basically have a...
It sounds probably close to 2,000, huh?
Yes, sir. Yeah, you got it. So we got a $2,000 month day trading. But now let's say that we have a swing trader that does 2 swing trades, makes the same amount of money, 2,000 at the end of the month, right?
Yep.
So one person used more time, more energy. Another person used less time and less energy, but they got the same value. And that was the example I was bringing up with the Starbucks versus the Starbucks Reserve. If you can get the same value or even better with less time and with less energy, then that becomes like, once again, do I have to put more time and energy into buying and selling, buying and selling, buying and selling? And the reality is, no, we should be pursuing value, not more time, more energy.
Because, you talk about that, and it reminds me that if we, that's what used to wrap me up when I would be day trading, because I felt like I had to be watching the market all day long. Now that's not true. That's a fallacy. That's a fallacy. But what I would say, I was so fear of missing something. I was missing a move. I was missing a breakout, doing whatever. I was upset trying to make up for a bad trade I made during the morning. And now I know a lot of, some people who do day trade, they have very strict rules, which is really great. And I think it is transferable. But I think that also in that aspect is you talked about the efficiency. And if I could spend an hour of my time swing trading and make that $2,000, rather than, let's say, two 2 times, or let's say 5 times that amount of time, let's say 10 hours per week to day trade, or 2 hours per week to make that $2,000, which is more effective. And the thing that we're not even talking about yet, uh, Doc, we're not even talking about the mental, the mental capital, and that just exhausts you constantly thinking about, I got to make it, I got to make it, I got to make it, and to wrap you up.
Yeah, I think this for me is just an expression of the westernized, or the, I don't even like to use this word, the developed culture. Like when you travel, anybody who's ever been in a undeveloped country, once again, I'm just using this as an analogy. I don't like these concepts of developed and undeveloped, because
Sure.
for me, I actually think they're actually reversed mentally. Like the,
I get, I understand. I
but that's
understand.
that's a different talk for another day. But I think what's key is that the whole get rich quick, whether accepted or not, is really infused into the scalping and day trading mindset. And when you look
Right.
on social media, it's very rarely, it's very like the post that goes viral
Yeah.
is very rarely the one that says Dennis made $50,000 on 2 swing trades for the whole month. That's
Right.
very rarely going to go viral on social media. But the post that says I made $20,000 in 5 minutes, let me show you how. That
Yeah.
one,
Yeah. Yeah.
that one will hit, right? And
Yeah.
and what is
Sure.
that? That's basically the beat impatient mindset,
Yeah.
get rich quick mindset, be impulsive mindset. And in my opinion, most minds, like if we're talking about the dopamine and the cortisol and the chemistry of the brain, most
Right.
minds can get very addicted to that very quickly. Like
Well,
when you take that hit of the win so quick, so fast, instant gratification, that can really mess up your mind long term.
oh, without a doubt. And the thing, I'm glad you brought that up about the dopamine thing. And a lot of people don't realize this, but the myth is more trades equals more profit. The reality is more trades equals more dopamine. When you look at it.
That's a
And did
good
you know
post
that?
right there, Dennis. That's a good
But man,
post,
I'm
man.
gonna say, I think that's a great post too. And the thing that's really cool is so many people talk about, like you said, that one big winner. I made $10,000, in 2 days, or 10 minutes, or whatever. Let me show you how. In reality, if somebody is presenting that to you, you need to ask them, what is your body of work? In other words, what was your return last year on across all trades? And I'll bet you, well, I would say 90% of the time, that person is not, that boasting of that kind of return is not going to share the returns with you. Is not going to basically say, here's what I did last year. Because the body of work is more important than a single trade. Yeah. And
Beautifully
so,
fit, beautifully put, Dennis. Yeah, that's some poetry right there for us.
and well, I've been the young person, Aspen, who said, I'm just, a cough away from meeting Jesus, but I'm ready. That's okay.
I,
um,
I mean, at the end of the day, like wisdom is wisdom, and
it's
experience.
wisdom. Yeah.
Wisdom
Yeah.
is wisdom. Experience builds skill. Skill leads to progress, right? And so, yeah, no, absolutely. One thing I wanted to reflect over, Dennis, is
Yeah.
this idea of the body, right? The body, or the end product. And I think it's really interesting because I was scrolling social media the other day, and an ad popped up with one of those popular posts of, I made $10,000 in 5 minutes. Let me show you
Sure.
how. And somebody made a comment. They say, well, why are you selling a course? Shouldn't you be a billionaire if you can do that? And I think that hits on the point that you're
Whoa.
talking about, that you're
Yeah.
hitting on. And that is like, okay, if you can make money that fast, then why aren't you a billionaire, right? And it goes back to what you're
Sure.
saying, like the sustainability of those larger numbers within such a quick time frame. I think it's very unsustainable realistically. But not only that, I think more importantly, it's extremely brutal on the mind,
Oh, without a
especially
doubt.
especially like even if you think of professional athletes, an 18 to 20-year-old soccer player plays better than a
Sure.
40-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
20 to 25-year-old tennis player plays better than a 40-year-old, so on and so forth. And it's because that ability to be in that reactive, quick mindset state that it takes to scalp and day trade, even
Right.
that I don't think is completely sustainable. So I think
No,
at the
no.
end, I think at the end of the day, the sustainable ROI and the progress and the ultimate results for long-term success, I really think, going back to our percentages in the beginning, I think,
Yeah.
I genuinely think with a good mindset and a good system, most swing traders, whatever percentage we want to throw at, could make it in this world over the long run.
Oh, heavens, yeah. I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And part of it is also understanding the what's reasonable and understand and having an expectations of what a swing trader should be able to make if they're following their rules and this type of stuff. And a very interesting book by Dr. Thomas Carr called the Trend Trading for a Living book, and he talks about swing trading in there. He basically comes out and he says that a good swing trading system with an edge should generate about 40% per year. Okay. That's across the year, right? With a win loss ratio, which is really not that important, of somewhere between 40 to 65%. Okay. If that makes sense. That does make sense. When you think about that, how does a 40% profit every year stack up against what even the institutions do? Well, it blows the institutions out of the water. And so that's what my metric is for my system is I measure it against 40%. And if I'm close to that, that's good. For the past 13 years, I've averaged, 35% per year. I'm good with
Sure,
that.
sure.
The here's the question though, is, well, it's not a question, it's a statement actually, and I was shocked by this, but 16% of traders, day traders, exhibit signs of problem gambling due to the dopamine hits, and all that type of stuff. And I know that when I used to day trade, have you ever been, let me ask you this question. Have you ever clicked buy when you really meant to click sell or just regret it? You go, oh my God, I shouldn't have bought that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've even sized too heavy.
Oh, yeah.
like accidentally I
Yeah.
sized too heavy.
So, hey, if you're online, you just drop a fire emoji down in the chat if you've ever forced a trade and regretted it later. No, so that's a good one though. So, oh gosh,
I have a good question for you, Dennis.
go ahead.
Because I could be wrong. I was looking at the Warren Buffett indicator, and I'll rope this into what we're talking about.
Okay, that's cool.
Do you think most trading systems or trading strategies know how to survive bear markets?
That is really an excellent question, Edu. I mean, that really is. Um, when I think about that, I would say no, but I'll caveat that there are some swing traders out there. I think swing trading better prepares somebody for that, for surviving a bear market. And the reason for my saying that is this, is that if you are trading a swing trading system or strategy, you have very strict rules on exit. You know how to protect capital. You know, basically, you know that you have certain patterns that will get you into the market. And if you don't see those patterns, you don't take action. And so because of those things, I think that a swing trading strategy system can survive a bear market simply because it, it its safety, if you will, is built in. Its protection is built in, especially if you work in rules like, well, the market looks like it's turning kind of soft. My position sizing is going down. And so you shrink your position size. So you're automatically protecting, you're building in your protection so that you can survive the bear market. And then I think it better prepares you then on the other side for getting in probably earlier than most of your counterpart, most of the people would get in. So what about you? What you came up with that question? Let me hear your answer.
I agree 100%. 100%. I think most strategies that I've seen, especially popularized strategies, are 100% reliant upon VIX down, volatility down, S&P 500, Dow Jones, NASDAQ going up. And I saw this. I haven't been in the market humbly as long as you have, which when you tell me 20, is it 20 years or 20 plus years that you've been
35,
in the market? Oof.
35.
So I literally bow to that wisdom, to tell you the truth, Dennis. And so humbly, I saw a lot of beginner, intermediate, seasoned, and veteran traders get taken out in 2022 when we were going through that chop for about a whole year, that whole Ukraine, Russia thing.
Sure.
I saw a bunch of systems failing, a bunch of people messaging me. I don't know what happened to my strategy. I was crushing it during COVID, because they're just buying the dip that never stops ripping, if you know what I mean. But
I know, I hear you.
but yeah, I think, in my opinion, that's the real test of anybody who feels, kind of roping this back into the concept of the quick hits, the day trading, the scalping. Anybody who feels and senses that day trading and scalping is really, truly, deeply, authentically for them, I would invite them to go back and back test to see if that strategy would have worked in 2022, 08, 2000, the COVID. I would invite that because I would think it's going to be extremely important. I'm going to go wide here. I could be completely wrong, but intuitively, I feel like within the next 1 to 5 years, maybe less, things might get a little spicy in the markets, at least from what I've been seeing on the technicals. And so that's just like a gesture of, hey, if my intuition serves me right, could happen. If it's wrong, no problem. At the very least, we trained for war and we still got more peace,
Oh, without a doubt. And Tommy said in there, he said, cash is position. And Tommy, you're actually absolutely right. It is. And as we wait for, I forgot to ask Doc where he's calling in from today, but let's wait for him to be back. There he is. Yeah,
I'm here,
Doc. Okay.
Seattle. I'm in Seattle right now.
Okay, cool. 2022. Well, it was a tough year in the market, right? Market sold off. The NASDAQ was down a lot. We went into a bear market and all that kind of stuff. And I love to trade. And here's what swing trading can do for you. Now, I'm not saying that this, is for everybody, but here's what swing trading can do for you. I love to trade the leverage ETF TQQQ. TQQQ. If you will go back and look at TQQQ back to its inception back in 2011 approximately, and walk it forward, what you find out is that there's multiple times per year where TQQQ, if you swing traded and would take out profits at, somewhere between 20 to, let's say, 25%, you find that TQQQ has a compounding effect per year of between 75 and 100%.
Oh yeah,
Now,
that's juicy.
and so
Oh,
and that's only
over how many years?
well, I went back and did the research and then also traded it, but that's on a per year basis.
Wow.
Of getting, because it would offer you somewhere between 4 to 6 trades per year.
Yeah.
And you would gain per trade, only taking, if you only even took the middle part of that profit, you could generate about 20% approximately per trade, times 4 to 6 times. You're generating somewhere between a 75 to 80 to 100% compounded amount per year. Well, in 2022, if you would have bought and hold TQQ at the beginning of the year, you would have been down about 78%. Down 78%. However, by just paying attention and doing the swing trades on it, and doing a little bit of momentums where you would hold for a couple of 2 or 3 weeks, hit your 20%, you were able to trade that approximately 6 times that year and generate a compounded amount of return of compounded amount of return of over 100% compared to the negative 78% of the buy and hold. And that's the other side of the equation that I love to talk about also, is the negative, the aspect of buy and hold. And Tommy mentions SQQQ. You're absolutely right. SQQQ is a great trader, but again, being aware of the potential, and if you're after simplifying what you're doing with your trading, Doc, I've watched you travel around. I love your Instagram post and all that type of stuff.
I appreciate the support, Dennis.
I do, because you're out there now. I don't know. I don't know if you're married or not. Are you married? No. Yes. Okay. So do you yeah, okay. Do you take your wife with you when you travel?
Yeah, she's my camera lady.
Okay. That's totally cool. And so you go through some really cool places, just exotic places that I'm going to speculate. I don't think you would be able to do that if you were still day trading.
Yeah, so you're right. Once again, there's that wisdom coming in, Dennis. You're right. And there are certain setups when they set up that I can scalp. So for example, when Nvidia was going on a massive rip, just nonstop,
Right.
75, 100, 125, 150, I had properly did my technicals right to scalp and day trade the 150 to the downside Nvidia. When we get those sort of like really extreme, super intense highs or to the downside, I can
Right.
usually get a nice day trader scalp. But most of the time, yeah, my window is 2 to 14 days rinse and repeat. I have a very high accuracy of what a stock can or can't do within that time frame. So 2 to 14 days, rinse and repeat. And every once in a while, and I'm sure you know this too, you get blessed. You get that really good setup on day one, and you're already up, whatever, 15% on the same day. That happens for sure every once in a while. But yeah, the exotic travel lifestyle does push me into swing trading. And I like it because, once again, going back to the time frames, with swing trading, there's different systems, and you have your system as well. But what I've found is most swing traders, at least from what I've studied, tend to get in near the end of the day, or maybe even in the after hours as the candle's closing, right? I don't know if that's your exact system, Dennis, but that's my system for swing trading. And so, yeah,
Don't tell anybody.
so most time zones are going to respect that window, right? That 2:30 to 5 p.m. Eastern time, so on and so forth. And so, yeah, I think that's one of the beauties. The other beauty of it is you can properly put in limit sales right? While you're sleeping,
You
GTC,
betcha.
extended hours type status,
Yep.
let that stop loss or that limit sell be in play for the next whatever 90 days, what have you. And
Yep.
then you
Yep.
really
Yep.
could, if your technicals are good, you literally would not have to check your phone, only if you wanted to. But if you got no connection in the middle of the jungle and you have your technicals and your orders in there, like you should be good to go.
Yep. Without a doubt. I think one of the best stories that I get from a lot of, the people who trade with me. There's got one guy up in Maine. He's a farmer, right? And he's out plowing the back 40. And I'll get a text from him late in the day, and he goes, thank goodness for your what I call them is the fire and forget orders. What they are is they're conditional orders that target both profits and provide the stop loss portion of it also. And he'll get a text from this guy occasionally, and Tim goes, "Hey man, I am so thankful, that I found out how you do your stuff." He goes, "Because I was just out there plowing my field, and all of a sudden I get a ding on his phone." He goes, "Oh, I just made a profit," and that's kind of stuff. And that's so cool because he also likes to snow ski, right? And I'm very big on helping people find financial independence so then they can find lifestyle freedom. And when I look at a young person like you, and seeing what you guys are doing, I categorize it as lifestyle freedom. You're getting to see play. It's somebody, a famous philosopher, and I can't remember if it was Jim Rohn or somebody along the line. He says, you know, what our days are filled with hours, months, years, and all that kind of stuff. But he said, what really makes our life is the moments that you take those pictures of those videos. And trust me, when as you get older, you'll be sitting there going, oh yeah, remember when we went here? But hopefully you'll be traveling all the way up until you're like in your 90s. That's my objective.
On that point, Dennis, and
Yeah.
respectfully, and I'd love to do a part two. I have to part ways in just a few minutes,
Okay.
but if you're open for it, I'd love to do a part two, and we'll get this StreamYard down to a maximum profession, of course, but next time. But on that point, when 2022 and COVID happened, I realized how quickly societies, meaning like things exterior to ourselves, can
Right.
just turn things off for you, right?
Oh yeah.
During that small financial crisis, I think that was in 2022. What was it, like 50 banks went into the hole, right? JP Morgan had to
Yep.
bail them out, right? During
Yep.
COVID, thousands of companies went under. You couldn't even leave your apartment in some countries, literally. You couldn't
Yep.
leave your apartment. So those two experiences just told me, I already knew it, but it reaffirmed that I am absolutely not in control of most things.
Right on.
Life, God, whatever we want to label it, right? For those who don't believe, life, God is absolutely in control. So then it just
Right.
becomes, what can you control? What can I control? And now let's use that time, that energy, and that value to maximize on the things that matter most, which I'm speaking to the choir here: freedom, happiness, love,
That's right.
compassion, empathy, purpose, mission. I could go on for days, but yeah, man. I mean, let's make a little bit of bucks here along the way so that we can have that lifestyle freedom, like you said. And
You
other than
betcha.
that, memories, compound on memories.
And that is so important. It's that especially when you consider that life is made up of a series of moments, um, and you let your mind go back and think about those moments in your life. And so, fortunately, so many of I've had a lot of great moments. I've also had some hard moments. Like when I blew up my two accounts, that was not a happy time. but at the same time, it was a wonderful learning experience. But yeah, I dig it. You got to bug out here. What I'll just so how can people, I know how can people reach out to you if they want to check out you on Instagram? And you offer a wonderful service also that you do some mentoring and coaching, right?
Yeah. So first off, thank you, Dennis, for your time and also planting the seed here. Yeah, absolutely. I'm obsessed with technicals married to mindset. So if somebody has a technical problem, which every once in a while that happens, and I resolve that. But most of the time, people have a mindset problem. So I definitely work with people on retuning, rewiring the brain, lifestyle habits, trading
Right on.
psychology, transformation. So yeah, the Instagram, Dr. Stockz, the one with the blue check mark, Dr. Stockz spelled out, Dr. Stockz, two words with a Z at the end, right? Dr. Stockz.
Right. So yeah, Dr. Stockz, and yeah, go over and also check out Edu's uh, the reels that he does. They're really excellent, and but he offers some direct mentoring and for his group, and I think you also can direct people to your Discord channel and that type of thing. And
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
yeah, and for me, you mentioned something about systems. I think that a lot of swing traders, they actually settle down to some very similar type things. And you mentioned trading towards the end of the day because that's when the candlesticks are almost done. And those who try to trade first thing in the morning look at that candle for the day and go, well, it's going to be this. Well, by an hour or 30 minutes before the close, it may be that. What might be bullish in the first 30 minutes turns into a bearish mess by the end of the day. So what I find is the best time to put my order, I find two places to put my orders in. One, end of the day, or two, I put my orders in on Saturday or Sunday. And that is an order that is one cancels other order that will buy into the position for me, but then also protect me on the other side. And if you want to find out more about Autopilot Trading, it's at autopilottraders.com. You can also find me over on YouTube at Market Tech Talk. So, Edu, I tell you, Eduardo, I am so pleased. Yeah, let's do a part two.